Okay, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and just copy this and tweet it out real quick. Join us live for the Brownie post-game, pre-game show. Now, Cleaver's ball, and Browns, and go Browns. No. Join. And I'll tag you in this too, so you can retweet it. Bam. Okay. All right. Mr. Howe, what's going on? It should be interesting without Greeter or Ward. Yes, it should. All right, guys, we are live. This is the Brownie post-game, pre-game show. My dad usually joins us, so he's usually my co-host. But today, we have special guest, Mike Restano, a.k.a. at Bonzo1273 on Twitter. Mike is a season ticket holder. Yep. Is that correct? Yes. And also the host of the... I'll let you explain. I'll let you explain the name of the show, your podcast.
Yeah, so I'm ready to go live probably this week. Next week, the latest. Look forward, everybody. The Lone Dog podcast, and it's coming very, very soon.
Awesome. I'm going to put it in chat. Lone Dog podcast. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So we got about 30 minutes till kickoff. So everybody who's currently watching, I want to say thank you very much. Join us right after the game, and we're going to be live again. I'm going to try to even get my dad to dial in. He's actually live at the game in the end zone, about 25 rows back. So he is there in just rival territory, currently representing the Browns. He had a friend who's a Ravens season ticket holder, so he's there. Guys, I want to talk to you really quick about some of the things that we have going on from this week. We are still banged up. Defensive back is still a little bit of a question mark. But, Mike, I don't know. Personally, I feel okay based off of last week. How do you feel about our defensive back front?
You know, I was actually talking about this with a couple people this morning. I'm okay with it. And the reason why I'm okay with it is I really feel Mitchell and Kerry on the perimeter coming up to help in the run game, mm-hmm. I think is big. I think that is a benefit for us this week, as opposed to if, Denzel and Greedy were in there. And I know that sounds kind of weird because you're like, oh, well, my backups, I think, are going to do a better job than my starters. But they've talked about it all along as well that, we're so deep that these guys start on other teams. So it's not like it's a true backup type of situation. So I feel good about the situation.
Yeah, I think T. Mitch back there. We got Demarius back. Murray did a good job last week. I think we're actually in okay shape. And this is how I'm actually hoping that they look at that as a weakness and they try to use Lamar throwing the ball deep. I don't know if you got to watch any of the Chiefs game, but he couldn't hit anything deep. Yeah. He's got that high school quarterback. I never learned correct form throwing motion. And, yeah, let him throw deep. I hope that Freddie and Wilkes just sits there and goes, look, we're just going to stop the run. And if they beat us deep and they get a couple passes off, then so be it. But those are low percentage plays for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, and I think it's big that we've got Randall back now, so he'll take away that. I think he helps big time worrying about Marquise Brown taking the top off. I think having Randall back there this week makes me feel a lot more comfortable. Mm-hmm. And not to say the guys didn't do a great job last week, because they did. They held Woods and company. Cup broke out, but yeah, he's slippery like that. But I think Randall really helps today in terms of neutralizing that, that deep hit down the field. But like you said, they could attempt it, but who's to say? Prove us wrong, Lamar, that you could consistently complete those passes.
Absolutely.
That's really where we are.
Now, I think Marquise Brown is the only big threat that they have deep. So he's the one guy I worry about. But if you look at who we went up against versus LA, and I mean, this is arguably a major step down from an offensive standpoint of what we saw from like a professional offense, defending NFC champions, versus now the Ravens. We just have to beat the run pass option. Last year, the second Ravens game when we faced Lamar, I think that was a little bit of a challenge for us. We didn't really have an answer for that, but we now have film and we now know what we're up against. So if we stack the box, I mean, they're going to run the ball with Ingram too. I mean, they're going to pound it. So they're going to use the run to open up those deep passes, and they're going to do a lot of play action that's going to open up those deep passes as well. It just comes down to, are they going to be able to connect? The other big question is what's going on with the offense. Can our offense get back on track this week? Again, I was looking at my Yahoo Fantasy. I want to see if this is actually still correct. Yahoo Fantasy Football, because I have Jarvis on this team, and it says that Baltimore gives up the 10th most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. That lets me believe that we're going to have a chance to exploit their defense quite a bit. But it all starts again with feeding Nick Chubb and making sure that he can get the ball rolling. And that's one thing we did really well last week. How are you feeling about the offense, both on the run and the pass, and then specifically with Baker? How are we going to do?
So, and then I want to go back for 1 second in a minute, but the run game was solid last week. I thought, and I think Chubb. There was a talk of on that 4th and 9 draw, if he makes that cut towards the middle of the field, maybe, we get that first down. But I mean, he was 4 yards shy of 100. He ran the ball well. I think.
And if they wouldn't have called back that run where he ran in for the touchdown, he's 100. Yep. He got 100 yards.
Yeah, easy. So I think that we need to get him more involved in the screen game. I know we tried that, but I think at the same time, some of those screen plays could have been successful, but I really feel that, Baker was hearing ghosts or seeing ghosts or whatever he was doing. And he's got happy feet back there, and the only people that should have happy feet is the Penguin, right? That was the
movie,
the movie, right? So yeah. And to go along with that, from a passing standpoint, I think he just needs to understand that he's going to have to step up in the pocket. He's going to have to let it rip. He's going to get hit. But I think that's the only way that he's going to get himself back on track is trusting the O-line, stepping up in the pocket. He completes a couple here and there, and I think that, he's off and running. But I just wanted to go back real quick. I think a real key last week in the defensive portion of the game was if you look back at the stat line, and I know that Higbee is not Mark Andrews, but Mac Wilson did a really nice job covering him last week. So I'm interested to see how he is, covering Mark Andrews. And I think that's a big time benefit. I don't know, without Mac Wilson starting last week, I can't remember the last time that we covered tight ends well.
Mac Wilson's so young, so athletic. We got such a value where we got him in the draft. I believe it was the 5th round. Then you've got other guys like Taki, who hasn't seen as much playing time, but another very aggressive, athletic guy. So and I'm pretty sure that's why these guys were drafted, because although I think Schobert's a really smart guy and he makes big plays, but there's also a lot of missed tackles that he has. I mean, guys slip through him fairly often. He's not the biggest guy in the world. So now that we have these strong athletic linebackers, they were drafted on purpose to face the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm excited about what our defense is going to be able to do. I'd like to see Miles get to Lamar once or twice today, at least one time. And I'd like to see Olivier get going as well. I mean, we gave up Zeitler, and I need to see a little bit more aggressive play coming out of Olivier Vernon. Sheldon Richardson's been doing his job. He's been fine. So Ogunjobi's been showing up from time to time. He's been doing well. But this is going to be big-time defensive line, linebacker game with the defensive backs hopefully just being okay. And like you were saying earlier, I think we have a good enough second-string defensive backs that should be able to handle this offense. If we're able to handle the Rams, we should be able to handle the Ravens.
Totally agree. And I think to your point too, I think that talking about Olivier Vernon and Miles and just the defensive line in general, I really believe that this game goes with, if you could contain Lamar and you could contain Ingram in the run game and have Lamar have to beat you with his arm, as long as, and I know it's a big if right now where we are in the season, but if this offense puts together the game that we know that they can, I think we're all smiling on the Brownie post-game show.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're yet to have seen this offense be truly unleashed. We've played against really good defenses. And then the Jets game, we still won the game by 20 points. So don't get me wrong. It wasn't terrible. But if you look at what we were hoping for 40 points. And we just didn't get that yet. But the Jets defense also isn't terrible. Their offense was terrible, but their defense isn't that bad. I think they're going to be better than the Jets defense. I think they're going to be worse than the Titans. Although the Titans are weird. I mean, they have like on games where they can beat the Patriots like they did last year, and then they have bad games where, they lose to somebody silly. So the Titans are weird. It's probably going to be somewhere along the lines of that sort of defense. And I don't think we put up a goose egg. I don't think we play bad. We're going to be up for this game. This is the first quarter. So the first quarter of the season ends today. This is, in my estimation, a must-win for us. I think that if we win this game, we silence the national media. We silence everybody who's been doubting Baker and Freddie. We're 2-2 going into a very rough stretch. And we're in first place in the division, and we control our own destiny, which is one of the first time we've been able to say that in a very, very long time. Since probably 2007. So this is huge today, and I think that they're up for it. Hopefully I can see this going one of two ways. We're either going to do really well, stick with them, and pull it out at the end, or this is going to be one that they, if their offense gets going and we can't stop them, I don't like us playing from behind. I just don't think we're a mature enough team to be able to do that yet.
Especially in that environment.
Yeah, away game. It's going to be, the rival territory is always going to be difficult. But then on top of it, I think that we've got to get more. I want to see us be more disciplined with the penalties. We're the most penalized team in the league. That has to stop. Like, you can't win a Super Bowl if you're the most penalized team in the league. You watched the Super Bowl last year's Super Bowl with the Rams and the Patriots. There's a couple penalty flags here and there, but it wasn't anything like we've seen so far with the Browns. And that is killing us. Yeah. It's absolutely killing us.
Penalties. They've got to eliminate. And it's – I think I can't remember if it was – I think it was the last game. Had a little drive going, and then Bitonio gets a false start.
Yeah.
You can't have those mental errors, especially – from a guy like that.
Yeah.
They need to tighten that up. And I mean, really at this point in juncture in the season, pre-snap offensive penalties have been killer for our offense.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is there's no Aaron Donald this week. Thank God. Yes. So there's nothing even close to it, right? So we should be able to be okay. I think Hubbard's coming back. I'm not a big Hubbard fan, but if it comes down to like adequate, that's about the best thing that we can hope for right now. I think that the last game was a little bit uncharacteristic for guys like Bitonio. So that offensive line is what everybody said. It is as advertised. It's shaky. We need to fix that offensive line if we want to have a shot at taking it to the next level with this team. You look at teams like the Chiefs, the Patriots, the teams that just win. I mean, their quarterbacks, they don't get hit very often, and when they do, they still have enough time to survey the field and deliver. Right now, Baker does not trust this offensive line. That's the root of why I think that's the root of a lot of the problems. So
it doesn't.
yeah, and then on top of it, the false starts, the holding, the personal fouls, all of that stuff. You cannot do that against good teams and expect to win. You can't even do them against bad teams. I mean, we did it. We beat ourselves against Tennessee. So
It's funny too, because if you go back to Tennessee, and I think about it all the time, I feel like if Greg Robinson doesn't get kicked out of that game, I think we win that game, because I feel like that was when all of the offensive line play just, and I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, you put the kid in at left tackle, he gets hurt, then you got to move Hubbard
yeah,
over, and then you put the guard in that we just got on Monday. So I think really that was the crux of the issue, and I feel like had that not happened, we're not having all these conversations. We're 2-1 going into this game, and I mean, the national media is going to have their own narratives and whatnot, but I think it's a different story. I think that was the integral point of the Titans game and the season thus far for me, was that ejection.
can you imagine if we would have had 18 penalties and still won that game?
Right.
Like, and we were in a position after we scored the touchdown right before that screenplay, and I will go to my grave believing that there was a penalty on that screen pass, and then it was over. I mean, the Browns basically gave up after that. I think Baker tried to be a hero, and that's how the interceptions came. But so he obviously wasn't giving up, but I think the rest of the team was like, all right, this isn't our day. Right, which is an unfortunate thing, because you want your team, like if you're playing Madden, you want them playing like to the bone every play. But the fact of the matter is, there is momentum. There are major letdowns. These are human beings. So I hope we don't run into a situation like that where we lose momentum and we lose hope by giving up big plays, or Lamar Jackson running for 30 yards on like a 3rd and 27, something silly like that it just knocks the wind out of our sails. Alex says, I'll take any points. We need to get in the end zone. I think that's the other thing too. When the Jets, the Rams game, when we came away with 2 field goals early on, if those are touchdowns, we win that game, and we win it easily. So we have to not get nervous in the red zone, and that's something that I didn't see last year. I don't know if we're trying to force it to OBJ or what, but not looking at Jarvis. I think right now Baker's just got to take some deep breaths, not think about who he's going to pass to before the snap, but find the guy who's open and then make it happen.
I think we today is the day that we really find out what Freddie and Baker are made of. I think today's the test. And could you imagine? I mean, I've already been daydreaming about it, but I don't want to get too excited. But man, with the Baltimore, get the win. How fired up are we?
Oh my God! If we're 2-2, we're flying back to Cleveland with a nice plane ride back to Cleveland, and we're going to be on fire going to San Francisco, being like, we can go out to San Francisco, we can go and beat them as well. We just won 2 road games this year. We can win again, and I think San Francisco is extremely beatable. So that's another team that, if it wasn't away, there wouldn't be a question mark. I think that's a win. But yeah, I think this is the game that if we can get the win, I don't care if it's ugly. If we walk out of Baltimore with a win, 2-1, sole possession of first place in the division, this is a whole new season. It is. Yeah. This is the game. I think for the first 3 games, the Browns franchise looked at it and be like, okay, let's just see what happens. It's going to be a tough game versus Tennessee. We came up, we shit the bed there. Right. Yeah. So then the Jets, we took care of business with the Jets, and we put together a much better game against LA. National media is not going to give us a lot of credit, but you and I both watched that game, right? You were there. So This is, I think we are playing better. And now if we can continue those steps forward, again, very young team, this could be a good day for us. So keeping my expectations, trying to get my expectations low, but
you said it too. I mean, you touched on it, because we get excited for, all the hype that surrounded this team in training camp and at the start of the season. But at the end of the day, they are young. Baker's on his 3rd head coach.
Yeah.
2.5 offensive coordinator if you throw Monken in there. So they're young, but as we get deep into the season, like you said, we'll be a quarter of the way through. Now we've got to see the growth.
Yep.
We've got to see them taking that next step. And you and I talked about it. I think it's today.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's today. Well, we'll find out here shortly.
Yeah, and Jake says, you want respectability in the NFL, you have to prove it against tough teams. No more freaking we were so close. I think that's a dead-on accurate statement. I think that it is. We've been talked about because of all the talent and all the personalities on our team. And as you know, Freddie said, well, whoop-de hell. So far, it's been whoop-de hell. We needed to see the real deal. And if the Browns are going to show up and have a game, I want this to be the game that they have. I will forgive them for the Tennessee game if they can just give me a great game today and then a great post-game show. So guys, we're getting really close. We got 14 minutes till kickoff, so we're gonna try to wrap up. But join us here for the Brownie post-game show. We will be live probably right at 4 p.m. As soon as the game is over, we're going live with our thoughts. Join us here. We're going to do a homage giveaway. So you want to get yourself a free homage t-shirt, be here. I'm going to do a giveaway for that, just like we did last week. So anybody in chat, all you got to do is guess a number. I'm going to hit enter with my number, and if you're closest to it, you win. So, guys, thank you very much, Mike. Guys, follow Mike. He's Bonzo1273 on Twitter. Follow him for the updates on his new podcast is coming out, the Lone Dog Podcast. So let's make this happen. All right, I'm going to say go Browns. Mike, any final thoughts?
I'm speechless. I want to see us compete. I want to see us win. I don't care if it's by a point. We just have to win. I got 27-17 Browns. We'll reconvene at the end and we'll see if I was close. And
I'm going 23-17 Browns.
23-17.
So you know they're going to get field goals because these. I mean, I would almost say it's going to be 23-20 because you know they're going to get field goals. Those are freaking Ravens. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. I'm going to go upstairs. I got my chips and salsa ready to go. And follow us. We'll be live tweeting the whole time. And then join us right after for the Brownie post-game show. All right, guys, thank you very much. Go Browns.
Go Browns.